Alright, hello. Another day, another video. I just wanted to make this video because I thought it was a good topic to talk on. And since it came up in a comment in one of my videos a while ago, you'll see I have the American Humanist Association tab pulled up, and it's the Humanist Manifesto 1. You'll see why that is in a minute. But just, obviously, as you saw in the title of the video, I have some doubts with atheism accounting for morality or justifying it at all. And I want to go over the big idea and layout for the video real quick. The question I'm asking is a meta level question. It's not looking at psychological belief or anything of that sort. Like, you can believe in morality, you can believe whatever you want. I don't care. That's in the realm of psychology. But I'm asking an ontological question in the sense of what is real. And so that's why I'm going to go into a little bit of meta-ethics with this video and different things of that sort. But, I'm asking, what is the foundation for moral, ethical values, facts, and duties, Layout of the video today is, number one, I want to go over what is morality, like what am I talking about at a meta level, just fleshing that out a little bit. Number two, I want to go with how atheism doesn't actually account for anything inside of morality or the notion of morality itself. It just collapses. And then also, lastly, I want to touch on how Christianity easily accounts for and justifies explains and is very coherent with what we experience and what is undeniable with moral truths, at least, and different things of that sort. So, starting off, morality is immaterial, objective, universal, and at its source, it must be personal and relational. So, let me go through these a little bit. So, morality must be immaterial, since what is its weight? What is its color or measure or something like that? It's pointless to ask these questions. It's stupid. It's dumb, because morality, it obviously doesn't have a weight or a color or a measure or something like that. Can you lift it up? Can you find it underneath a rock? No, obviously it's not located somewhere. It's not. That goes on to another point I have, that it's not a particular. It's not a thing that you just point at and you can actually see. So this also comes in with the is-ought fallacy. So a lot of atheists will say it is material. It comes from evolution or something like that. First off, that would just be personal preferences then that have evolved over time. There's no objective truth to that whatsoever. You get relativism, which I'm going to go over here in my second point. But then also, just what nature is. Like, for example, red brick. A red brick can't think. A red brick doesn't have any moral status at all. And just because you're a biological organism, what does survive doesn't, instantiate what should survive at all. So, moving on. Morality is objective. Okay, like I said, I was going to get to. So, morality is itself an irreducible concept. So, relativism renders the notion of morality itself useless. What I mean by that is that if Jeff thinks that stealing is fine, but I think stealing is actually really wrong, you shouldn't steal, the notion of relativism or subjective morals on a meta-ethical theory just renders morality in and of itself useless. Because what do we get? We get personal preferences. That's aesthetics at that point. That's I want to and I don't want to. That is not something that you're obliged to at all, like a duty or a value or something of that sort. This abstract that you have to obey or that you should align your life with. It's an irreducible concept. Morality can't be reduced to something of personal preference because it just becomes meaningless. Again, like I said, Jeff thinks murder's fine. I think murder's wrong. Who's right and who's wrong about that? If we both can be right about that, and neither of us are wrong about any standard, well, then that means there was no standard to begin with, which renders, again, like I said, morality to be meaningless. Anyways, moving on. So, morality is a universal. If it was only a particular, then it wouldn't be objective also. So just running a reductio with this, since we know it's objective, or else morality itself would be rendered a meaningless concept, it also has to be universal. That means it has to be true for everyone, everywhere. Okay? Yeah, and all humans recognize and act in accord with moral precepts anyways. Like I said, if morality was only particulars, then it would just become meaningless, and there would be no actual definition to morality that's actually solid. And lastly, this one is the most devastating. What I would say, morality actually has to be personal and relational, due to its justification and its source. Duties and values are personal by definition, I would say. Abstract values are groundless. And what I mean by that is, if you only have values in like an atheistic, Platonistic view or something of that sort, then how do you ground that at all? Like, the value of being generous, like that's a good thing to do. Or the value of, I don't know, like not wasting all your money, or being rational and being a truth seeker even. That's one of the biggest ones. That's most obvious. It just seems like there's this immaterial, objective, universal thing that is groundless in atheistic Platonism or something of that sort. There's no real justification. It's just floating out there as like an abstract, and it's not held together. There's no reason it shouldn't be just particulars in that sense. So, like I said, it can be coherent in that they like psychologically believe in that or something of that sort, but it's not ontologically justified. It doesn't give any explanation at all either. So, also, duties require an agent issuing them. This is kind of obvious. You can't, going back to my first point, you can't get an ought from an is. So, that's why we have the is-ought fallacy. Thank you, David Hume. So, moving on to my second point. Atheism struggles and fails with all of these. So, this is the fun part. How do you account for any immaterial realities on atheism? Atheism is obviously the disbelief and the instantiation, the proposition that no God exists at all. Well, on that worldview, then what is your ultimate metaphysic then? You know, how, if the universe is just self-existent or something of that sort, which actually it says like right here on, I think that's where it is, the website I'm on, because it's atheistic and everything. But with something like that, that's just material, how do you account for any immaterial realities? I'm talking numbers. I mean, obviously a lot of people are anti-realists with numbers and different things of that sort, but even logic. But that's probably for another video, another time. Even something like energy, like you get like an atheistic science guy or something like that. You know, what's your metaphysical grounding for energy even? Because the defining factor of energy is that it's not even material. You know, if it was material, then like it would just be space, matter, time. You know, no energy whatsoever. Things wouldn't move, I guess. Sorry, I'm going off on a little bit of a trail. But yeah, how do you account for any immaterial realities, let alone the morality, the immaterial reality of morality? Also, second point, morality devolves into personal preference. See like what I did there? It devolves into personal preference. Like I said, this renders morality useless. It just turns into aesthetics. What I like, what you like, what is preferable, what is not preferable, and that easily crosses the line into contradicting, not contradicting, not contradicting, not contradicting yourself. As soon as you put in a good, like a value judgment as good or bad or something like that sort, and like let's say you're like, I don't know, like you're a motivist or prescriptivist, like you just like something or you prescribe something, it's very easy to cross that line into good, not meaning aesthetic, but into ethical goodness or right, as in, you know, it would be the right thing for me to, like, I don't know, drive on the right side of the road. You know, that's not just because it looks pretty that I drive on the right side of the road. Somebody can say that and think that they're just prescribing that, or it's just an aesthetic value or something like that. But really, if you dig deep enough, people will most likely crumble into, and good, it's not like I'm trying to be a jerk or anything of that sort, into moral realism, you know, morality actually being real, and you know, universal and immaterial and all that other baggage that they have to justify. Okay, thirdly, predication can't exist anyways, since only many things exist, and there is no unifying one reality in atheism. So yeah, what I mean by this is if you're like an atheistic materialist or you're like a naturalist or something like that, what is this one unifying reality that allows for predication? You know, this is like, if I say murder is wrong and that's true universally, which we went over, I ran a reductio saying that if you deny that, then you can't have morality in the first place. But how do you justify for a predication of that sort, a universal? I don't believe it can be justified under the atheistic paradigm. And then obviously the last one is easy. There's no supernatural person or being that exists in the atheistic paradigm, which takes away the personal relational thing that has to just, duties and values are personal by definition. Abstract values are groundless. And that duties... Okay, duties require an agent issuing them, obviously. So under the atheistic paradigm, obviously I don't think you can have duties or anything of that sort. I think values are, I think values are pretty, not, obviously not self-evident. I'm staying away from that. I don't think there are any like self-evident or self-justifying like truths or stuff like that. But I think it's self-explanatory that values have a personal faculty to them. That values can't just be abstract out there. That they have to be actually rooted in a person. That's what would make the most sense intuitively, I believe. Also, but not least, let's move on. So I think Christianity fits perfectly with all of these. All of these transcendental preconditions and stuff like that for coherently and justificatorily having morality in your worldview to begin with. So, obviously, first to begin with, I talked about how it's immaterial. God is an incorporeal being. Okay, there you go. Moral commands flow from his perfect nature, so it's objective in that sense, that God cannot lie, he can't contradict himself and everything like that. So therefore, that means, you know, he's not going to go against his own nature, since his own nature is perfect, it's perfectness. So that's how we have objective reality in the first place, that it's not just all flux and like relative. We are made in his image. This is the fun one. We're made in his image and have a moral compass, and we reason analogically to God's mind. So moral precepts obviously exist in the mind of God. Murder is wrong. Value, the good things and stuff like that. And love your neighbor, love God. Love your neighbor as yourself, and different things of that sort. And we reason analogically to God's thoughts. Obviously, we don't think the same thoughts that he has, but since we're made in his image, this is a universal reality for us because God also instantiates it through divine providence. And then last but not least, God is relational to us, obviously, and that's why he gives us these commands, because he loves us. And like from his perfect nature, he knows best for us. And so, yeah, I think just summing the video up, I know that was kind of quick a lot, but I think Christianity solves all these problems within morality, grounding it, just justifying it. It's coherent and explains a lot of things, has a lot of insight. With atheism, I think it's just a bare assertion with a lot of things. But last but not least, I want to go to this now. With the American Humanist Association, literally what I'm talking about, good without a God. I want to just go through here how there is like literally no justification for what I just went over at all. So the first thing they say is regard the universe as self-existing and not created. Boom, no God whatsoever. Okay, so no created being. I mean, it says down here somewhere, yeah, time has passed for theism, deism, blah, 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 blah. And so therefore they have no metaphysical supernatural thing at all. Yet you'll see, and I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but you'll see through the whole thing, obviously religious humanism and stuff like that, that it has moral commitments to everything, to a lot of things, I should say. I don't know, maybe not everything. I want to go over 15th and last, we assert that humanism will A, affirm life rather than deny it. That's a moral commitment. Seek to elicit the possibilities of life, not flee from them. And C, endure to establish the conditions of a satisfactory life for all, not merely for the few. Sounds like a utilitarian, that's normative ethics. It's not exactly what I'm going for in this video. But that's a moral commitment too. It's an ethical it's an ethical commitment that's going on, and all they're doing is bootlegging because they haven't given a justification for any of it at all. Not merely for the few. By this positive morale and intention, humanism will be guided, and from this perspective and alignment, the techniques and efforts of humanism will flow. And yeah, there's just a string of continuity through the whole humanistic thing of humanistic line of thought, in the sense that we need to rationalize and think critically and be truth seekers and everything. I totally agree. Just what is your justification for that though? Like, why is going towards the truth better than just doing whatever you want or believing whatever you want, or being rational? Why is that a good thing, a good value, or something like that? Why am I ought to do that? And I think just looking at different things like this, and especially in the worldview of atheism, honestly, I don't think that there is sufficient grounding for it. Hope you enjoyed it. Christ is King. Just trust in Jesus Christ and He'll save you.